Hello guys, Nigel here with you, back again with this Land Rover. And after my last video, I finished that video, I shut the door and pretty much walked away. I came out to start removing some of this bloody powder coating, and no, it's really done me in, this bloody thing. It's such a disgrace. I've sent a pretty shitty email to Britpart about, you know, this product. And what's really annoying, as I say, I've spoken to someone I know and they knew of someone who had it, who pushed the body apart about 20 mil. And then lo and behold, I looked on the Britannica restoration site, Mike's site, when he fitted one, and the welds were awful, but it fitted perfectly. And I looked down in the comments and someone down there had also had one that pushed the doors apart. Now, I don't know if I'm repeating myself here, but obviously if it's sort of this area here, if that area is pushed out, then you're going to get this, and your doors are going to have a gap at the top and the bottom, so it's no good. But I mean, I spoke to Britpart. I told them about the fact the sides don't fit when you get it in, the bottom's all out. I've had to re-drill and weld everything. I've had to cut this, weld everything. Now I'm going to have to get it all powder coated and everything. What do you think their response was? They have replied. What do you think they responded? I'll read it out. Here we go. Dear Nigel, thank you for your feedback regarding DA1810. I have forwarded your email onto our quality department. They have, in line with our commitment to quality, asked our supplier to make the corrections you mentioned to the bulkhead removal kit. That's it. No apology, no offer of compensation, no offer of a refund, no we must clear the shelves of all our stock, nothing. So my suggestion to you is, guys, if you're thinking about getting one of these, don't buy it, because the biggest problem with this, it ain't like going out and buy a winch bumper and finding that it doesn't fit, or, you know, a pair of seats and you find they don't fit, or they rub up on the sides or something. To find out this don't fit, you've cut your bulkhead out. So once you've started, you've got to finish. You can't just leave it. You've got to do something. So my suggestion is, don't buy this. It's rubbish. Until we get some sort of notification that they have actually changed. The other thing I think I'll probably do is I'll do a measurement across the top of this beam, this main beam, and then we'll know then what it should be if it's going to fit within the confines of the tub. Because obviously, if this is about 20 mil I've cut off. Well, it's not actually, because one end was way short, wasn't it? So I've probably only taken about 10 mil out of it, but it was actually pushing the body. It was about 18-19 millimeters. It was pushing it apart, so 20 mil. So I think what I'll do is measure that, and then you'll know. And if you get one of these kits and you find that it's 20 mil longer than this one, then you know it's too long. So I think I might do that. Measure the widest point, which will be the rearmost point of where the bar comes up. Where are we? Here, where the bar comes up. Sorry, it comes up. Where that bar comes up to there, to the outer corner is at the back. That's the furthest 2 points apart. So I'll measure that. So if I forget, remind me. Okay, please remind me if I forget to do that. So like now we're going to look at the cappings. Now what Britpart, I've got the camera and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so Britpart suggests you just sort of cut along here and just cut that section off, and that's going to leave like half this rivet hole here, and it's also going to be mean there's a sharp edge there, which you can address it, but it's still going to be a sharp edge. If I put them in a corner suddenly or something fell into it, it'll probably damage it. So I'm going to actually, you can see I've drawn a hole here, here and here. I'm going to cut this section out that's shaded. I'm going to bend that round so we've got it straight along here, okay? And then I'm going to make up I've got a piece of steel here which is folded with the correct radius, yeah? I'm going to put that in there, where are we? In here, and then curve it around to here. So it'll all sort of blend in and be nice and smooth. So wish me luck. And as if by magic, there we go, you can see all cut out now with the plasma cutter. And we've done the same on this side. So I think I've gone a little bit narrow with this side. But remember, we have to leave a little gap between the metal to get a nice penetrating weld. So I may have to grind some off of here. But plasma cutters are great. And look at that. I mean, you can see here it's like a couple of millimeters of paint has been disturbed. And it hasn't even burnt the tape here where I've cut right next to it. They really are good. Really, really fantastic tool. I wish I'd bought one many, many years ago. But anyway. So let's get this all cleaned up and then we'll start doing some bending about. There we go then, all clamped up, ready for welding. We've got a nice and parallel now along here. So it's clamped. This is what I'm using to clamp it with. These are just something I made years ago. Basically you've got a wing nut on the top, and then you've got a bar in the bottom, and the wing nut won't come undone with one hand, which is bloody typical when you're on the camera. And all it is, that bar in the bottom, you basically take that out like that, put this down in the gap like so, you slide the bar in from underneath, and then you tighten up the wing nut, and it basically clamps them together. And it not only clamps them so you can hold them at the right distance apart, but it also keeps them flush on the surface. They're brilliant for like doing wheel arches. That's what I made them for. I used to do like transit wheel arches and stuff. They're brilliant for things like that because you can hold it all level, and a gap, because when you MIG weld you need a gap, especially with sheet. It stops it distorting so much. This gap here is a cock up. I've cut too much out. I think I can still weld it. We'll see. I think I'm going to be fine. It's not structural, so it doesn't matter. It's not really structural as such. It's slightly structural, but it's not like a chassis rail. So I wouldn't do this in a chassis rail. But generally with MIG welding, I always go for, if I'm butt welding, I go for a gap the same size as the gauge of the material. So here I should be looking at a gap of about 1.5 mil. I think I've probably got about 4 mil there, haven't I? 3.6 mil, so double the gap it should be, but I'm sure we can get it up just by doing a series of little walks. You know, I think I can get it. This side's much better. This is more like how it should be. So about a 1.5 mil gap all the way along. So I don't know what I did over there. I think I must have cut from, I think I must have measured over from the cut line rather than the finish line, because this is the line that ends up parallel with the outside edge, and this is the cut line that I cut along the inside from here. So yeah, anyway, never mind. And there we go, welded and ground back, ready for a very thin skimmer filler just to fill in the imperfections, and then a coat of paint. So that's that one done. That's that side all done. So now what we've got, if you look down, it comes along and it's straight rather than tapering out. And then we've got the same on the other side here. All done, all ground back, and lovely and square and everything. And as you can see, so what I'm going to do now is cut this off here, and then radius around, sort of come round into a radius, and then another radius, and then straight on this. It will all be nice and smooth. So like when Jess, her there, that animal is jumping around in the back, she won't have anything sharp to catch on. The only thing I will have to worry about is this here. I think I'm going to use some coach bolts or something so it's all nice and smooth on a radius of these brackets. So yeah, anyway, there we go. I'll be back tomorrow with some more. Okay, so we've seen this done now. We've got this parallel section in here, so now we've got to get rid of this lump here and blend this into this radius back here. So I've made up this little piece of steel, just a piece of 16 gauge, and what I've done is cut it in 3 places, radiused it. Really you should do this on a press or perhaps over a round bar and you know, beat it, forge it into shape, whatever. But I prefer to just do this and cut it. So for all those that are going to tell me that I should be doing it another way, I've thought about every way I could do this, and the easiest way to do it is this, and it's not particularly structural, so it's absolutely fine. So the other thing is beating it around a piece of steel makes a lot of noise, and I've got neighbours, so there we go. So I've got to cut that out and put that in. So what I've done on the other side, I've already done that, and I've got that piece there now, and that is tacked in. Not tacked in, but it's held in with the block as we saw before. So I've now got to weld that in. You can see I've got a nice gap all the way around for the welding, and I'll weld this end first, and then we'll take that out, get it all squared up and make sure it's level. I wish I hadn't gone so close to this weld here. I just have to be really careful when I grind it. On the other side I can come back at a sort of less sharper angle, come back like this so the weld is away from that weld, so we can keep it all standard looking. But basically what I'm after is trying to get a weld, so this way around. What I'm trying to do is make it look stock, so it sort of comes here, it has to be this wide for the door, and then it tapers out around this tube, goes straight back, and then once we've brought around that tube we can go back in again. So I'm just being a big girl's blouse really, but I just want it to look nice. And I've also got a blend, where are we, this in here, we've got this step, I'm going to carry that radius up into there. But I'll do that afterwards. I'm going to turn the tub upside down and look at the back and weld anything that needs welding and grind anything before I put any primer or anything on this side, because obviously if I grind the other side it's going to burn the primer off. So it's going to be a case of flipping it over another 2 times before I can prime, or another once before I can prime this. It goes on and on and on, doesn't it? So I'm going to get this welded in and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So then guys, there we go, all done. Ready for some filler primer. So that's going to go on that. You can see we've got a nice radius coming around here, straight down there, lovely. Same on the other side. All done. And then if we use some nice round-headed bolts on here, round these corners off, on here. Same on this side, round all these corners off. Get everything nice and smooth so it's all injury-free, and then we'll be lovely. But as I say, I'm trying to get like a factory look to it. So, you know, they had to bring it out for those tubes and then straight, and then come in here for the width of the slam for the door. So there we are, happy with that. I think it looks much better than just hacking it off like Britpart do. So there we go. So now I've got to remove this piece of quality hardware, and now because I'm taking it out, I'm going to turn the tub over and work on the back. Any sort of pinholes or anything I can weld up, and then I can grind it down and get the back etch prime painted, whatever, and then flip it back over and work on this side. So there we go. I'm going to use a product called Novol. It's a polyester primer, and it sticks like shit to a blanket to steel. It's absolutely brilliant. It's Jess. Hello Jess, what are you doing? She's having a bit of a rest today, just for a change. So there we go. So, and don't worry, when I'm welding and grinding and stuff, I've got this this gate guard over here that gets rolled out across the front of the garage, so she can still see what I'm doing. I make sure I shield her from the arcs of the welding, but I don't have anywhere near when I'm grinding and welding and stuff. So you pet lovers out there, don't go worrying about that. So there we go. Let's get it flipped over. Well, get this frame out, and then I can show you what I've had to do under here. It looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but you'll understand. And then I think we'll call it a day. Right then guys, so here's the kit, if you can call it a kit, out. And as you can see, I've had to do a lot of mods. I've just measured this tube, and I've measured it basically from here, okay, across to the same point on the other side. So that's across to there, and it's 1,416 mil. So if you've got one of these, or you're getting one, before you start cutting your bulkhead about, measure it, and if it's any more than that, any more than like 1,420, take it back. Even 1,418, because this is about as long as you're going to get it. So yeah, if it's any longer than that, you know, the distance from that corner of the pipe there to the other corner, 1,416. Obviously you can't measure across here because all the tubes are in the way. So measuring straight across with a tape measure, 1,416 mil. Okay, so you have been warned. And maybe Britpart could check their stocks as well, eh? Nah, I doubt it. So these tubes here, if you remember, I'll move the camera around and I'll show you what we had originally, for those that may not have seen that video. When we fitted this up in, as you can see, this plate at the bottom is supposed to fit flush up against here, like this. Well, in the instructions, they tell you to drill some holes up here. Let me move the camera up so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at the instructions, you can get them online. Look at Britpart D81818, whatever it is, instructions. But they tell you to drill a hole here where there's an existing rivet. And then what you do is you get the opposite side, which is this one. You put it up on the top, and then you mark through, and you drill these two holes here. Okay? And then what you do is you take this bracket, and you bolt it up in. Okay, so you bolt it up in so that it's, and then it should come out like that, and it's flush. What I found with this one, when I had it bolted in, it was like that. So in other words, it was away, tipped up, so I had a gap at the bottom I could get my finger in, and it was away. So it was about 3 mil away up here, about 10 mil away down there, and it was twisted that way. So other than that, it was perfect. So I didn't know what to do, and I thought, well, if I just graunch all this up, it's going to distort all this aluminium plate. So what I had to do was remake the tops, because there's no way I was going to start welding up the holes in my tub and start re-drilling holes. So what I did was cut the frame about. So what I did, make sure I'm on camera, I cut you can see here as it comes along, it goes down. So I've cut it here, and then bent this end down. Okay, bent it downwards, like, get the angle right, like so. So you can see that has got an angle on it now, and if I put a straight edge on there, it goes up like that. Okay, then once that was done, then I could actually get it to go back on the right angle. Then this nut here, which is welded in the bottom, you can see there, I cut it out. I cut it out of the actual. It looks a mess at the moment, but it's really lovely when it's cleaned up. But I cut it out here, and then I've moved it forward 14mm and welded a piece of steel in. So you can see there, piece of steel welded in, and it's dropped down because it's got a large lump on the top of it. Okay, so that then meant I could get this in, get it in here, get a bolt in there, bolt through that hole that was pre-drilled, and that was it. Then what I had to do then was cut on the back here. There's two captive nuts that were over those holes. These two holes here, these two holes here are the original holes, and as you can see, these holes are moved 14mm forward. Okay, so I've drilled two new holes, and as you can see, I've had to twist it like this to get that bottom plate to sit flat against the tub. And then I've got a 5mm washer there welded on, and I think that's a 2mm washer, 3.5mm and 2mm washer welded on, and then I've obviously just ground the tops back. And that's because where I've cut this, it's had to tip up, so I've had to make it into a straight line again. So rather than cut this bracket and lift it up, I've just welded a couple of washers on there. So now what it's able to do is go in and fit using the original holes I drilled in the tub, and it fits nice and flush on that face with no twist, no angle like that, no gap. Okay, so if I can roughly show you how it looked before, I can't actually because the washer's there, but that was how it was before. That's if I line up the back two holes. That's how it was before. Okay, so not very good. So if you have got one of these and you want to fit it and you're prepared to waste your time doing all this crap, then there you go. The other thing I've noticed, it looks very strange, but it looks like there's rust under the powder coating. If you look on there, it's got like a goldy browny colour to it. I'm not sure what it is, but I know that it chips off very easily. So I'm going to have to try and find somewhere to powder coat this again. I think taking the old powder coat off is a nightmare. So that's the sign you want to look for here, X-Panda, and I think this is their new supplier, because the welds, there's nothing wrong with the welds, they're fine. And if you look at Mike's video, his welds were a mess. So I think they've changed the supplier due to the weld quality, but now it doesn't fit. So there we go. So that's what I've had to do, and that was probably 15 or 20 hours work to make it fit. And as you know, when you look at this, you can see I'm really fussy about my Land Rover, so I want it nice. And that's what I've had to do. So anyway, we'll call it a day for that. I'm going to flip the tub over now and get in the back of those welds and clean them up and do some stuff. So I'll see you all later, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.